Matt.
On your three things that you say were new. One, on the audio data being analyzed and being authenticated. That was not new yesterday. That was actually in the statement that the embassy in Kiev put out on Sunday morning before Secretary Kerry appeared on
The intelligence community had authenticated all of it. It's my understanding that that was not all out there on Sunday, but I'm happy to check.
Well, I believe it was, but I mean,
Okay,
there's
well,
no.
I disagree with you, but I'm happy to check. What's the next thing?
Well, you can look at the statement.
Yep.
It says that they've been authenticated. So I would say that wasn't new.
Okay, happy to check.
Secondly, I'm not sure that, I know that there were some suggestions that the Ukrainian fighter plane shot down this with a missile.
So the Russians have basically had a couple of alternative explanations. There was a Ukrainian fighter jet. I think the intelligence community went to great lengths yesterday to show why that's not the case. The other, one of the other things they said was that it was a Ukrainian SA-11 system that the Ukrainians had fired. Again, I think they made very clear why that's not also the case.
But the theory that, or the, I don't know what you, the suggestion isn't necessarily that the Ukrainian jet, I mean, you've discovered that the Ukrainian jet was in the vicinity, but it was not capable of shooting.
No, I can't confirm that there was even a Ukrainian jet. We have no confirmation that I have seen that there was a Ukrainian jet. I'm not saying there wasn't, I just can't confirm it. But regardless, the notion that this kind of Ukrainian jet the Russians are talking about could have done this with the kind of missile and the kind of debris we've seen, it just doesn't match up.
Because I think the suggestion is that whoever fired this missile may have been shooting for that plane, like what we saw today in terms of the
Which in no way makes it better.
Well, I'm not saying it does. I'm not saying it does at all.
And
but
I don't know what the intentions are if whoever was on the ground pushing the button. I don't.
And the last thing about this.
Clearly, I know the intentions were to launch a sophisticated missile and to kill people. Whether they were trying to kill Ukrainian military officers or civilians, we're still waiting to find out.
Yeah, okay. I'm not arguing that one is better than the other.
I know.
I'm not saying that. I'm just
Responding to
saying.
your question.
And then on this trajectory thing that you said was put out by the
I didn't say that was
embassy
new yesterday. We posted that a few days ago.
Right. But I mean, if you just look at that, a layperson looking at it, it's a line drawn on a satellite photo with nothing to back it up.
Well, as I said, it's based on a series of classified information.
Which we have to.
Which
we have to take the leap of faith to believe that.
Matt, we are trying to put as much out of this, information out about this as possible. We are trying very hard to do so. It is a process that takes, I think, more time than any of us, certainly you or I, would like. But I think I would make the point that it's much more time-consuming to declassify real evidence than to make it up, which is what the Russians have been doing for days now.
Okay. Well, be that as it may, are you saying that at some point
we are
the
working
IC is hopeful that they will be able to?
We're working to get more information declassified and put out there as quickly as we can. It's just a difficult process.
Okay, but do you understand that given the conflicting claims, no matter how ridiculous you say the other side's version is, and no matter how implausible it might be, but saying that you've put together the imagery showing the route of this trajectory showing
just
imagery.
one piece. It's one piece
I
of
know,
evidence.
but anyone can draw a line on a map. They can. I mean, I'm not saying
that's not what our intelligence community does. That's not what the U.S. government does when we go out there and present a case to the world. We have to protect sensitive sources and methods. We have to, because if we don't, we won't be able to get this kind of information in the future if they're compromised because of a declassification. Believe me, I want to be able to declassify more. They want to be able to declassify more. And it's not about a leap of faith. We are laying out a very comprehensive argument based on a number of different pieces, right? So if you look at all of them in totality, look at the entire picture. It presents a very compelling case about the kind of missile, where it was fired from. Those are the two key pieces, right? The kind of missile that took down this plane. We are very confident is an SA-11. We are very confident it was fired from Russian-controlled territory. We are very confident that the two alternate stories the Russians put forward aren't plausible. Who put their finger on the trigger? We still need to find that out.
Right.
But suffice to say, the Russian separatists, we believe, fired this in general, could not be doing what they're doing without the Russians, and responsibility lays at the feet of President Putin, not just for this, but for every incident that we have seen throughout this conflict. Period.
So it's Putin whose fault this is. That's what you're saying.
I think I was just pretty clear.
So you said, but you say it's a very compelling case, but it is a circumstantial case, is it not?
It is a case based on a number of different pieces of evidence, Matt. across the board, a number of different pieces, whether you're looking at what we talked about yesterday, whether you're looking at what we've seen on social media, whether you're looking at the kind of SA-11, which is a missile that essentially gets fired straight up, does what it does, and that's exactly what we saw in this case as well. So we've laid out a very detailed case. We will continue to declassify as much as we can. But again, we've been very open about our assessments here. The Russians have repeatedly lied about what's happening on the ground. They said there weren't troops in Crimea when there were troops all over Crimea. So there's just no credibility on their side. And I understand the need to put out more information, but look, the notion that they've shot down dozens, over a dozen planes now, and this is just the one that wasn't them, also just doesn't pass the common sense test.
Okay, hold on a second. So, and I understand your desire to protect sources and methods, but we have here a incredible tragedy where, you know, almost 300 people died.
I agree.
Is that protecting sources and methods are more important than getting to the bottom of who?
Well, those two things aren't mutually exclusive here. A, we think an investigation can go forward that will get to the bottom of what happened here. We believe we do have a good assessment about the things I've talked about. The investigation about who did it specifically to a person is ongoing. But look, part of the reason we protect sources and methods is because we want to be able to see these things in the future if they tragically, something like this were to happen again in the same area, the way we found out information this time.
So you're saying that, but just to be clear, that the imagery, the trajectory imagery that you have.
And that one sheet.
Right, exactly.
I think it's a green
that
line.
is, yes, that there are sources and methods for how you know that trajectory that people are concerned are going to be somehow tainted if...
Correct. Not just tainted, but compromised.
That are going to be compromised?
Yes,
if you give,
correct.
I mean...
Well,
okay, I guess.
Having spent 6 years in the intelligence
community,
that's why I know there are a variety of ways we can figure these things out, many of which are quite sensitive and many of which I think we don't want to lose. So, look, believe me, I'm pushing my colleagues at the DNI as much as I love these conversations with you about this. We are pushing and they're pushing, and we'll see if we can get more.
But do you? I mean,
I have
would
no
you expect,
prediction.
or you don't know? You don't expect more, or you?
I have no idea. I think there will be. I think we're just working through it.
Okay. One